Okay, let's try and unpack this legal situation. Quite something.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this. One single criminal case down in Kerala. Crime number 808 of 2025. Thalayolaparambu Police Station.
Right.
You've got the same complainant, P.S. Shamnas, this proprietor of Indian movie makers.
Okay.
But, and here's the twist, two different petitioners, Abrid and Nivin Pauly, both challenging that same case separately in the High Court of Kerala.
Yeah, that's unusual. Separate challenges, same case number.
Exactly. And our deep dive today, it's basically a shortcut to understanding how the courts are looking at this, how they scrutinize, procedure, the complaint itself.
The integrity of it all.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting. August 12th, just recently, 2025, the court slammed the brakes, put an interim stay on things for both petitions.
The temporary halt.
Yeah. And the reasons,
well,
they're quite telling.
They really are. What's fascinating, looking at these high court orders are from Justice V.G. Arun, is how they immediately flag these critical procedural questions.
What specifically?
Yeah. Well, you've got a situation where the investigating officer, the I.O., had already filed a report. And in that report, the I.O. basically said, look, this dispute seems civil in nature.
So not criminal, more like a contract dispute or something.
Potentially, yeah. But despite that report, the magistrate apparently forwarded the complaint for investigation anyway, under Section 175 of the CRPC.
Okay.
But the High Court notes this was done without properly sort of addressing that I.O. report or doing any more digging.
So the first look suggested civil, but it went down the criminal path anyway.
Seems like it, yeah. And then, even more significant, especially in Nivin Pauly's petition, there was a reference to a previous court order, a judicial finding, actually.
Finding what?
That the complainant, Shamnas, had consciously made a false averment, basically lied in an affidavit to get the criminal case going in the first place.
Wow, okay, that's big.
It is. So this whole thing, it really pulls back the curtain on legal oversight, and that really crucial line between what's a civil disagreement and what genuinely warrants a criminal investigation.
Right. Let's dive into that first petition then, Abrid one. The High Court saw prima facie merit. Like, on the face of it, his challenge looked strong.
Exactly. Prima facie merit. The court specifically pointed out what we just mentioned. The I.O., your first point of contact in the investigation, had already filed that clear report. This looks civil in nature. The complainant should probably go down the civil route, was the suggestion.
So the police themselves initially were saying, this isn't really our patch.
That's essentially the message, yes. But despite that clear signal from the I.O., the magistrate still pushed it forward for investigation under that CRPC section, which, is typically for starting inquiries, not really when an officer's already concluded it's likely civil.
And the High Court wasn't happy with that jump.
No. They found it problematic because, as the order says, it was done without adverting to the report or conducting further inquiry. It's like ignoring the expert's initial diagnosis.
Right. Okay. So procedure wasn't followed correctly there, it seems.
That's the court's initial concern, yes. Vigilance on procedure is key.
Okay, and then the plot kind of thickens with Nivin Pauly's petition. Same crime number, same challenge, basically. High Court also grants him an interim stay on August 12th. Similar procedural points, you said, but that extra, very significant detail.
Exactly. The false averment. It really raises that fundamental question. What happens when the very start of a criminal case might be based on, dishonesty?
Yeah.
The court specifically mentions that previous order from a judicial first-class magistrate court, finding that Shamnas, the complainant, consciously made a false averment in an affidavit.
So not just a mistake, a deliberate false statement under oath.
That's what the finding suggests, yes. And according to the High Court's reading, that false statement was instrumental. It directly led to the complaint being forwarded and the crime being registered against Nivin Pauly.
That's incredible. How much weight does a finding like that carry? A deliberate lie to start a case. It must massively undermine the whole thing in the High Court's eyes.
Oh, absolutely. It seems to be a central reason for the stay. The High Court explicitly says there appears to be prima facie merit in the challenge raised because of this prior finding.
Okay.
When a court points out that someone seemingly lied to get the ball rolling, it casts a huge shadow, a very long shadow.
And did the I.O. civil in nature report also come up in Nivin Pauly's order?
Yes, it did. Similar to Abrid Shine's case, the High Court noted that even with this backdrop of a potential false averment, the I.O.'s report finding the matter civil also seemed to have been disregarded by the magistrate without further inquiry.
So it's like a double whammy. Procedural issues and questions about the very truthfulness of the complaint's origin.
Precisely. Both orders together really paint a picture of deep concern from the High Court about how this criminal case got started and why it was proceeding. Flawed premises, potentially.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? This deep dive, it really shows the checks and balances, doesn't it? That an initial criminal charge, it isn't always the final word. And getting the procedure right, the IO's report, the magistrate's review, it's absolutely critical.
Absolutely. And connecting it to the bigger picture, you have to ask, right? What happens when that line, that crucial line between a civil spat and a real criminal offense gets blurred?
Or ignored.
Or ignored, or maybe even deliberately crossed, if that finding about the false averment holds up. The High Court stepping in like this just underscores how vital careful scrutiny is at every single stage. It's not just about protecting the accused, it's about the integrity of the whole system.
Yeah. And think about this as you reflect.
Yeah.
What's the real impact when a court explicitly says a complainant consciously made a false averment just to kickstart a criminal case? It makes you consider the immense burden that puts on people, on the system itself, when the very foundation of a complaint is shown to be potentially false. Where does that leave everyone? Makes you wonder,